because Satan does not have the authority to give life. Amen?
Amen.
And so it's probable that this looks like a death, but it's probably not a death. But many people who will view this, and I believe multimedia will be a major ingredient in the hands of Satan during the tribulation period. And so it says, I saw one of his heads as if it had been slain, and his fatal wound was healed. And the whole earth was amazed and followed the beast. This is where multimedia comes in. It shows that this Antichrist, who is fueled by who? Satan himself. It appears that this guy comes on the scene and then he dies and then he is healed miraculously. Did you know Satan had power to heal?
Yes.
I mean, did y'all know that?
Yes.
No.
Listen, this is why we need to be real careful with all of this miracle stuff.
Right.
Do you remember what happened when Moses went to Pharaoh initially?
Yes.
What happened?
Everything.
Go ahead.
Everything that Moses did, they were able to duplicate. So when Moses, I think, threw the staff down and
It turned into what?
snake.
Was Pharaoh's gurus able to do that?
Yes.
They were.
It is
He got power.
Yeah, there was, listen.
Well, they could do that, but they couldn't do everything.
Yeah, they couldn't do everything.
No, but they had some power.
Yes, and here's the thing. They don't have to do everything.
No.
Right.
No.
And here's why they don't have to do everything. They don't have to do everything is because all they need to do is a few things to gather the people's trust.
Yes, to sway.
Deceiving people. And so that's why we've got to be real careful about all the signs and stuff. People want signs and wonders, and Satan can do that stuff too.
Right. That's right.
But he is not omnipotent. He is not all powerful. He can't do what God does because it's not like, he's on an equal plane with God at all. He's not. But he's given authority to do some things. And that is the nature of him being a deceiver. Sister Blonda.
And when we're thinking about that, the scripture says he can even masquerade himself as an angel of light.
Right.
So he can appear like an angel.
That's pretty doggone clever. That someone who has no light whatsoever can make himself, disguise himself as an angel of light.
But remembering that his name means the light-bearing, shining one. So initially, that was his ability.
Right.
So it wasn't like he never had that ability, but he has mastered it in a way where it can be now deceptive. His name, Lucifer, means the shining one, the light-bearer.
Amen. So we got to be real careful. People nowadays, everybody's looking for the next guru to do miracles and so on and so forth. Even if it is something miraculous happens, for me, it's always a red flag that goes up.
Right.
Because when Jesus healed people, for the most part, he never masqueraded. In fact, most of the time when Jesus healed people, he said, "Go away and
Don't tell nobody.
don't tell nobody."
Right.
That's right.
And so, just be real careful. He says, and the whole earth was amazed and followed after the beast. They worshiped the dragon. And we talked last week, one of the main things that Satan wants and the reason why he was kicked out of heaven was what?
It's wrong above God.
He wanted his throne to be above God's. He wanted, ultimately, he wanted what?
The worship. The worship.
Worship. That's what he wanted. Satan hates for God to be worshiped. And that's why he always tries to disrupt what God is doing in service when we come together. There's so many distractions that Satan tries to use, but when we all come together and we're on one accord and we're worshiping God, God is glorified and God shows up. And when he shows up, everybody knows that he showed up, that we've been in the presence of God. You can't duplicate it. You know, I was thinking, what do we have to do to duplicate the fellowship that we had on Sunday? Wonderful, wasn't it? You know, God, there are times when he shows up in a greater capacity. He's omniscient. He is omnipresent. He's always present, but there are times when we experience him at a greater level, and I think that's when we're on one accord, when we are coming prepared to worship. I think also there are times when I think God will just show up at times just to let us know, I'm still on the throne. And I'm still running this thing. Brother Art, you got a question? Okay. All right. It says they worship the beast, saying, who is like the beast and who is able to wage war against him? You're speaking of the beast as if he is God. Verse 5, there was given to him a mouth to speak arrogant words and blasphemies, and authority to act for 42 months was given to him. And he opened his mouth in blasphemies against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, that is, those who dwell in heaven. That's what Satan does. So he's given the authority to blaspheme. In fact, ironically, Christ was accused of blasphemy, claiming to be someone that he wasn't. Verse 7, and it says, it was also given to him, that is, the beast, to make war with the saints and to overcome them. It was given him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And it says, an authority over every tribe and people and tongue and nation was given to him. So this beast is actually given the authority to physically overcome even some of the believers during the tribulation period. Now there's a remnant, the 144, that we spoke of, that in verse 15 of chapter 12, and the serpent poured out water like a river out of his mouth after the woman, so that he might cause her to be swept away with the flood. But the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened his mouth and drank up the river which the dragon poured out of his mouth. And so there was a sense of protection, but during these 42 months, it says, this beast in verse 7 is given to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And authority over every tribe and people and tongue and nation was given to him. Now this Antichrist, this person comes on the scene. Just imagine, it appears that he has been risen from the dead. He's empowered, we know, by Satan, but the world that will follow him will not think that he is empowered by Satan. Okay? That's the nature of deception. If they knew it was the devil, they would probably not follow the devil. Amen? And so the world is following this powerful person, and it says he is going to make war with the saints, and he's going to overcome them. and authority over every tribe and people and tongue and nation was given to him. All who dwell on the earth will worship him.
But it says, whose names have not been written.
Yeah, I didn't read that part yet. You jumped the gun. But since you want to go there.
Can we go back? Because it says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints. So I don't know, I feel like the devil making war with the saints right now.
Yeah, but the difference is we have, we have the Holy Spirit here in us, dwelling in us. Two, we won't be here during the tribulation period. Yes, the enemy makes war with us. Our struggle, Paul says, is not against flesh and blood. In Ephesians 6, he reminds us that there is a spiritual dynamic. There's a spiritual war that's taking place even now. But Satan does not have the type of authority that he will have during the tribulation period.
Because God's grace is holding him back.
Well, the Holy Spirit.
Right.
Absolutely. The restrainer, as the Bible would say.
Right.
Were not for God restraining the Satan, then he would have the same type of access that he has here in the tribulation period. Okay? It says, so the whole world is going to worship this Antichrist. The whole world. And everyone, except for, it says, everyone whose name has not been written from the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb who has been slain. So only those whose names have been written in the Lamb's book of life will not worship him. But it's going to cost them their lives. Now we're getting into some deep waters now. Verse 9, it says, if anyone has an ear, let him hear. Verse 10, if anyone is destined for captivity, to captivity he goes. In other words, if you're caught up, if you're captive, because it says that he is, he's going to make war with the saints and he's going to overcome them. Some will probably turn away. Those who are not true believers. Listen, it's not, when you think about the tribulation period, I know some people think that you can out-trick the devil. Right? You know how young people think, they just think that they think they can fool you, and you already did everything that they're trying to do and more. And they think there are going to be people who think they can out-trick the devil, out-deceive the deceiver. That's not going to happen. He says, if anyone is destined for captivity, to captivity he goes. If anyone kills with the sword he must be killed. Here is the perseverance and the faith of the saints. And so, in other words, there's an encouragement to persevere during this tribulation period for particularly those who are receiving Christ during the tribulation period and the 144,000. And they more than likely will die. And then it says in verse 11, then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. Yeah, another one. Yeah, as if the Antichrist, who is powered by who? By the devil, by Satan, the dragon. It says, then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. So this false prophet is, he probably very eloquent, good looking, easy to listen to, very authoritative. It's like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. He exercises all authority of the first beast. Think about that. Think about all the authority that the first beast has. Now this false prophet, which is the second beast, he exercises all authority of the first beast in his presence, and he makes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose fatal wound was healed. So now you have this other character, this false prophet that comes along, and he's going to be basically, all of these false images are all pointing backwards. You kind of, in my mind, it's like the false prophet is pointing at the Antichrist. The Antichrist is empowered by Satan, the dragon, so they're all really pointing backwards. Ultimately,